Hey guys, today we will be reviewing As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Analysis will be scattered throughout the review, ending with a personal rating of the book. Be honest with yourself. Do you constantly have negative thoughts that corrode inside your mind, or have you already developed a positive way of thinking? The majority of people do have an unbalanced amount of negative thoughts compared to positive thoughts. As a Man Thinketh is one of the books that can help you change the way in which you think. Entering chapter 1, which is titled Thought and Character. So, before I get into this chapter, I just want to let you guys know I have a script that I'm looking at on my computer right here, so that's what I'm looking at. Allen wastes no time in stating the importance of thought. In the second paragraph of the first chapter, Allen states that every act of a man springs from the hidden seeds of thought, which may pass over your head at first glance, but when you reread it, there's a truth within. Scientists today theorize that the subconscious mind, which is referred to as the hidden seeds by Allen, controls 95% of an individual's thoughts, which leaves 5% for your conscious thought. This is the first important theme of the book, which is the importance of training your subconscious mind. A few pages later, the author actually states a few of my favorite lines in the whole book. Man is made or unmade by himself. In the armory of thought, he forges the weapons by which he destroys himself. He also fashions the tools with which he builds for himself heavenly mansions of joy and strength and peace. My interpretation of this is that our minds create our own reality. If you allow things such as negativity, greed, fear, etc. in, it will destroy you. With positive thoughts, the opposite will happen. Allen finishes the chapter by referencing gold and diamonds that were found from mining. It states that to find every truth connected with or of yourself, you must search inside of yourself. If you're not thinking with positive intent, you will most likely not find the answer. It will only be found by constant practice, patience, and persistence. Chapter 2. Effective Thought on Circumstances. Our minds can be compared to gardens, which can either be developed into something elegant and useful, or something that is allowed to run wild. Either way, something will become of that garden no matter which option is chosen. If you choose to cultivate your mind and try to lift your thoughts, you will reap a clean harvest. However, if you allow it to run wild and neglect it, you will have no reap except for weeds. If you haven't picked up on it already, this is saying that the more work and effort you put forth into thinking positive and lifting your thoughts, the more you will be rewarded. If you choose the latter option, you will not be rewarded. In fact, it can harm you. Your outside conditions can always be linked to something of your inner state. Therefore, you can actually control your circumstances if you master yourself. If you are in a bad circumstance, think of it as something that you need for your development. However, if you do not think and use your mind to find what's wrong in your inner state, these foul circumstances will be repeated. As James Allen stated, circumstance does not make the man, it reveals him to himself. What you wish and pray for, which might be your dreams, may come to you, but that is due to them being justly earned. So how can you justly earn them? Well, you have to harmonize your thoughts and actions with your dream, and then it will be actualized. No matter what you want in life, you must be willing to make great sacrifices for it. Now, Allen tells of a story of a rich man who unfortunately is ill-struck with a persistent and painful disease due to his excessive eating. He's willing to give large sums of money to get rid of it, but he will not sacrifice his excessive eating desires. He wants to gratify his taste for rich and unnatural foods and have health as well. Such a man is totally unfit to have health, because he has not yet learned the first principles of a healthy lifestyle. Although the man is aiming to be something better, he is continually frustrating his goal by allowing thoughts and desires to consume him which do not line up with his goal. I really like this example because it's easy to substitute ourselves into this story. For example, you can start by substituting the lifestyle that you want to live into this story. In that story, the example used was a healthy lifestyle. Then you can look into yourself, which you may only be able to do if your thoughts have been lifted, and look at what may be causing you to fail. So like shadow work, basically. James Allen later goes on to say that there is a great law which is absolutely just, and this law states that it is impossible to give good for evil or evil for good. If you have a good thought, and that thought produces an action, it will never truly produce bad results. Vice versa, if you have a bad thought and you take an action, and it seems to be something good, the root of that was an evil thought. So eventually something will prove to you that it was actually a bad result. If you think you can keep a thought as a secret, you have been mistaken. Thoughts can rapidly crystallize into habits, and habits solidify into circumstances. So after learning this, I pose you as a learner with a challenge. You can start slow, but after you've completed the early steps, try to progress into further stages. What I want you to do is only think positively for one day. Start with one day. No matter what happens, think only positively. So start with a day, then change it to a week, then change it to a month, then eventually you'll be conditioned to think positively. And this is one of the many mental exercises that will allow you to improve your thinking. You should easily be able to see the results that occur due to the alteration of your thoughts. To end this chapter, James Allen states that a man cannot directly choose his circumstances, but he can choose his thoughts, and so indirectly yet surely shape his circumstances. If you have a persistent thought, whether it be good or bad, it will eventually produce results which will be seen in your character and your circumstances. Chapter 3. Effect of Thought on Health. In the beginning of Chapter 3, James Allen hints about the thoughts that can be imposed on you by others. He says that even if pure thoughts are not physically indulged, they will soon shatter the nervous system. This goes back to the famous saying that you will turn out like the people that you hang around. Although this chapter is short, there are some key points expressed in it. For example, to create a positive environment in your mind, think well of all, be cheerful withal, patiently learn to find a good at all, or with all, and be unselfish. This will all bring peace to the possessor of these thoughts. Chapter 4. Thought and Purpose. This may actually be one of the most important chapters in the book, since it involves thinking and purpose, hence the title. Many people indulge in certain vices, such as drugs, sex, and alcohol, but do not understand what aimlessness is, and that it's actually one of the worst possible vices. Aimlessness can steer you directly into destruction and catastrophe. You must conceive of a legitimate purpose in your heart and set up to accomplish it. Once this purpose has been found, your thoughts should be steadily focused upon that object or journey or whatever it is which is set before you. You may have been wondering, this chapter really hasn't been about positive thinking. Well, James Allen disputes your point at the end of this chapter. He states how doubts and fears will throw you off of your path to achievement. These two things have never accomplished anything and they never will. So why do you entertain them? Chapter 5. The Thought Factor in Achievement. I personally found this chapter very favorable because it called me out. Right off the bat, it stated that everything a man achieves and all that he fails to achieve is the direct result of his own thoughts. Allen basically goes on to say that no one is coming for you and you're the only person that's going to save yourself. The only way to save yourself is to lift your thoughts. I will not be going over the subject of lifting your thoughts today due to the length of the video, but there are many good YouTube videos and articles which can teach you about how to do this. Chapter 6. Vision and Ideals. Your vision is something that should be protected and valued. If you cherish a beautiful vision and have a lofty idea in your heart, while putting effort towards it, one day it will be realized. Every great achievement was at first, and for a time, simply a dream. A dream will not just come true because you wanted it to. Your results will be that of your own thoughts, and you will receive what you have earned, no more or no less. This kind of relates to the topic of manifestation and how people expect their life to change just because they thought about their dream for a little. You have to actually craft your mind to constantly think about your dream and never waver from it, while also working towards your goal with physical effort. I hope you all enjoyed this video and learned something from it. I personally enjoyed the book and I'm going to give it a rating of 8.1 out of 10. If you could like and subscribe, it would mean a lot to me due to the effort and time put into this video. Stay tuned for the next book review, which will be about Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.